Welcome to my channel Sella Buzz. Why Elke Sommer still won't watch this one movie. She made it in 1967. Elke Sommer was born as Elke Schlitz on November 5, 1940 in Berlin, Germany. Her dad was Baron Peter von Schlitz, who was a church minister. Her mom was Renata Entop. Her dad's job at the church taught the family about tradition and faith. Her mom was known for being warm and strong. Elke would later say these things helped her get through all the big changes in her life. Her early years were tough because of World War II. In 1942, the war was really bad, and Berlin became very dangerous because of bombs. Her family, like many others, had to leave the city. They moved to Neondorf, a small village near Erlangen. This was a quiet university town in a part of Germany called Franconia, Bavaria. Moving there saved the family from the bombing in Berlin. It also put young Elke in a country place where life was much quieter than the big city she knew before. By 1950, Elke was old enough to go to gymnasium. This is like a really hard high school in Germany that gets you ready for college. She was a smart student who did really well in classes that needed talking and creativity. Learning languages was easy for her. She would use this skill later when she acted in movies across Europe and America. But she didn't like math and science classes at all. She often had trouble with those subjects. Losing her dad early made her teenage years even harder. When Baron Peter von Schlitz died, Elke was only 14 years old. His death really changed how she thought about being responsible and independent. Her mother, Renata, became the most important person guiding her life. She helped her daughter use her strengths and let her try things that weren't normal. Renata saw that Elke's talents weren't helped by strict school study. So she let her daughter quit gymnasium in 1957, just 1 year after finishing middle school. This choice was really important because it let Elke try new things outside of regular school. In spring 1957, when she was just 16 years old, Elke went on a big adventure that changed her life. She moved to London to work as an au pair. She worked for the family of Vicky Michelle, who later became a famous British actress. This experience taught her a lot of important things. Elke not only helped take care of the Michelle children, but she also learned about English culture. She went to language classes 3 times a week to get better at speaking English. This was her very first time living in another country, away from both her mother and the comfortable things from home. Even though she often felt homesick and lonely, the experience made her stronger. It made her see more of the world and gave her a feeling of independence that would help her a lot in the entertainment business. She started acting soon after this. By the late 1950s and early 1960s, Elke Sommer had become one of Europe's most exciting new faces on movie screens. During her whole career, she was in an amazing 99 movies and TV shows between 1959 and 2005. The 1960s were her best years. During this time, she was always chosen to be the beautiful leading lady, acting with some of Hollywood's most respected male stars. One of her most memorable movies was The Prize in 1963, where she acted really well alongside Paul Newman and Edward G. Robinson. In Blake Edwards' comedy called A Shot in the Dark in 1964, she appeared with Peter Sellers in one of the classic Pink Panther movies. She showed charm and funny timing that made audiences really happy. She kept this success going with movies like The Art of Love in 1965, where she starred with James Garner and Dick Van Dyke. Then came The Oscar in 1966, a Hollywood drama with Stephen Boyd. That same year, she showed she was good at comedy with Bob Hope and Boy, Did I Get a Wrong Number in 1966. Then she tried adventure thrillers like the Bulldog Drummond-inspired Deadlier Than the Male in 1966. Later in the decade, she was in The Wrecking Crew in 1968, a spy spoof with Dean Martin and Sharon Tate. She also did The Wicked Dreams of Paula Schultz in 1968, a quirky Cold War comedy. Each of these movies showed how good she was on screen and made her a top actress of the decade. Her star power got even bigger in 1964 when she won the Golden Globe Award for Most Promising Newcomer Actress. This award was for her performance in The Prize. This recognition put her firmly on the map in Hollywood. It proved she wasn't just another pretty European woman, but a real talent who would last. Besides movies, Elke was also loved on American television. She was often on The Dean Martin Show, where she not only acted in funny sketches, but also showed She could sing. Her lively personality made her perfect for variety shows. She was often invited to be in Bob Hope's famous specials between 1971 and 1980. She also appeared 10 times on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. Her wit and charm made her a guest people remembered. She was also a regular panelist on the game show Hollywood Squares when Peter Marshall was the host. These TV appearances helped her reach more people than just movie audiences. They made her a name that everyone in the United States knew. During the 1970s, Elke Sommer's career kept doing really well, especially in Europe. She appeared in lots of different types of movies, from thrillers to comedies to scary films. One of her best performances of the decade was in Zeppelin in 1971. This was a wartime thriller where she starred with Michael York. In 1972, she tried Italian movies with 2 horror films directed by the legendary Mario Bava. These were Baron, Blood, and Lisa and the Devil. Even though the second film was re-edited and released in 1975 as House of Exorcism against Bava's wishes, Elke's spooky performance was still one of its best parts. She also made her mark in British movies when producer Peter Rogers cast her in Carry On Behind in 1975. She played Professor Vushka, a Russian archaeologist. Her part in this film was notable not only for her funny performance, but also because she became the Carry On franchise's highest-paid performer, along with one other person. She earned $30,000 for her role, which she shared as an honor with American comedian Phil Silvers. By the mid to late 1970s, Elke focused more and more on European movies as Hollywood started changing toward new trends and younger stars. Her last major Hollywood project of the decade was The Prisoner of Zenda in 1979, a comedy remake that put her back together with Peter Sellers. After this, she moved away from major Hollywood roles. She spent more of her energy on painting and visual art, which was a passion she had loved alongside her acting career for a long time. In 1964, Elke Sommer got married for the first time to Hollywood columnist Joe Hames, who lived from 1923 to 2008. Hames was already a well-known person in the entertainment industry. He was famous for his work as a journalist and author. He was also known for his close connections with many of Hollywood's most famous stars. He had built a reputation for his smart interviews and behind-the-scenes reporting. This gave him a special position in the glamorous yet often secretive world of American movies. When they got married, Hames was 17 years older than Sommer. This age difference got attention from both the press and the public. The two chose Las Vegas as the place to get married. This location was becoming more and more popular among celebrities during the 1960s. It was known for its mix of glitz, spontaneity, and a sense of adventure. Their marriage, though surprising to some people, represented the joining of two worlds. Sommer was the German-born rising film star who was making her mark in Hollywood with her beauty, talent, and charisma. Hames was the experienced Hollywood insider who had long watched and written about the industry she was conquering. Even with all the attraction and glamour around their marriage, their relationship eventually ended. The demands of Hollywood, the challenges of their age difference, and maybe different lifestyles all helped to slowly break apart their bond. After their divorce, Sommer focused on her acting career, which kept doing well internationally. She also began working more on her second great passion, painting. This gave her a way to express herself beyond being in front of the camera. Life after her separation from Hames opened new doors for her both personally and professionally. She met different groups of friends and acquaintances in Europe and the United States. It was during this later part of her life that Elke Sommer met the man who would become her second husband, Wolf Walter. Unlike her first marriage, this relationship developed with a different kind of balance and harmony. Walter was 8 years younger than Sommer. This was a big contrast to her first marriage where her husband was much older. He brought with him a vibrant and worldly background. At the time, Walter was the managing director of Essex House, a fancy, luxury hotel in New York City. This put him in the center of sophisticated social and cultural life. His job in the hotel business meant he was always meeting high-profile guests, artists, and business leaders. This naturally went well with Sommer's own international celebrity status. Together, they shared not only a personal bond, but also a love for art, culture, and elegance. Their love story ended in marriage on August 29, 1993. They exchanged vows in Franconia, a region in Bavaria, Germany that had special meaning for Sommer as part of her homeland. Choosing Franconia as the wedding location showed her lasting ties to her German roots, even after decades of international stardom. By the time of this second marriage, Sommer was no longer just the young starlet who had captivated Hollywood in the 1960s. She was an experienced actress, a painter whose artworks had been shown in galleries around the world, and a woman who had survived the ups and downs of fame. Her marriage to Walter brought her a sense of stability and partnership that was different from the crazy nature of her earlier Hollywood marriage. The couple's union was lasting and based on mutual respect. It became one of the main supports of Sommer's later life. It gave her a foundation of companionship as she continued her artistic work well into the following decades. In 1967, Elke Sommer appeared in the spy thriller Deadlier Than the Male. This film was part of the James Bond-inspired wave of action-adventure movies. These movies featured smooth secret agents, glamorous women, and high-stakes intrigue. Though the movie has since become something of a cult classic, Sommer herself has admitted in interviews that she has never been able to sit down and watch her performance all the way through. "It's one of those projects that even though it opened doors for me in Hollywood and in Europe, I can't bring myself to revisit," she once explained. The actress has said that despite the stylish nature of the production, the film represents a very personal and difficult chapter in her career. Sommer remembers that the set of Deadlier Than the Male was filled with tension. This was partly because of the high expectations placed on the film to compete with the James Bond franchise. Everyone wanted it to be the next big thing, the next Bond, and that pressure filtered down to the actors, she revealed. The weight of those expectations, combined with the sometimes chaotic production schedule, left her feeling drained and disconnected from the final product. For Sommer, the experience was less about artistic expression and more about enduring long days, tough location shoots, and the strain of being typecast in glamorous but dangerous femme fatale roles. Another reason she avoids the film is the way it cemented a public image that she struggled with for much of her career. "I was always seen as the seductive blonde, the exotic European beauty," she said. "But I was so much more than that. I had comedic timing. I loved drama. I loved painting, and I hated being trapped in that one image." Deadlier Than the Male, with its heavy focus on beauty and danger, only made that typecasting worse. Watching herself in that role today, Sommer has said, would only bring back memories of frustration and limitation rather than pride in her craft. There were also personal challenges during the making of the film that colored her memory of it. Sommer was already dealing with the pressures of fame, the demands of constantly traveling between Europe and Hollywood, and the strain it put on her private life. "At the time, I felt like I was living out of a suitcase," she admitted. "I never had roots, never had peace, and every new role felt like a continuation of that restless existence." Filming Deadlier Than the Male only made that sense of unease worse, making it one of the projects she has the hardest time looking back on fondly. Despite her reluctance to revisit the movie, Sommer acknowledges its significance in her career. It was one of the films that introduced her to international audiences and solidified her reputation as a leading lady of the 1960s. "It gave me visibility, yes," she conceded, "but not joy. Sometimes success and happiness do not go hand in hand." For her, watching the movie now would not be entertainment. It would be a reminder of a period of her life when the glamour on screen hid the struggles she was experiencing behind the scenes. For these reasons, Elke Sommer still refuses to watch the 1967 film. "It belongs to the past," she has said with finality, "and sometimes the past is better left alone."